So remember in school when someone would do a presentation and their presentation would come just before your presentation and their presentation was so good that it made yours kind of feel dull? Well, that's what Curse of the Gods is. What's up, guys? Veteran Gamer here. And today we're reviewing Curse of the Gods. So this is a game that came out on the PlayStation 4 about in February. So it's not that old of a game. It is a roguelike, and it is a good roguelike. It just kind of falls when you played Hades before it. So let's get into the nitty gritty. First and foremost, this game has a cel shaded kind of graphical art style. It works really well. The graphics are nice. It plays well. The color palette, the art style, everything blends really well, and it does give you a kind of like a Diablo-esque feel to it. One thing I did find that was quite interesting, however, was that the game gives you an option to lock it to 30 FPS. There's no actual like performance mode. It just has one option that says you can lock it to 30 FPS. I'm assuming this is for like the standard PlayStation, I guess, because maybe the frame rate is unstable. But playing on PS5, it was a lock 60. I didn't have any issues. I left that feature off. On top of that, Curse of the Gods is a typical roguelite with the same tropes as many others. You start from scratch, you progress through a run, you find certain things that may carry over for permanent upgrades, and when you die, you get those upgrades, you make your guy stronger, rinse and repeat until you finish it. So it's a very typical roguelite. Unfortunately, the story is basically non-existent. There's like basically no story, and again, coming from someone who's played Hades not that long ago, it was kind of lackluster in my opinion. On top of that, while other roguelites like Hades did have like an easier mode option, Curse of the Gods follows the exact same suit. There is an assist mode with multiple options to make the game significantly easier. So that allows for more accessibility. It's a great feature to have, but the game is meant to be played without it. And obviously, that's where the all strategy and reading enemies and knowing how to counter them, etc., come into play. One of the things that I liked about the Curse of the Gods was that you get to choose your own path. They actually have a tier world system where it's like a pyramid. The bottom level it's easy. It helps players get eased into the game, and you can't get to the second level until you complete 2 of the bottom level, and you progress that way, and it gets harder and harder. And when I say harder and harder, I mean each tier the game even tells you that there's a difficulty spike, and it does get hard real quick. The good news about that is, even though it's multi-tiered and there's like 4 bosses you have to beat to complete a full run, unlike other roguelites out there, you can actually save in between runs. You can save as you enter a room. It gives you the option right at the beginning of the room to save and quit. You have that option, which is great because certain games didn't have it, and it was kind of BS in my opinion. This game also features a light and dark system, where you carry a torch to light a room, you light certain aspects of the room, and when you're in the light, it reveals traps. However, if there is no light and you're in the darkness, which to use your basic weapon means you can't have your torch, means you could be in dark, you take more damage. Thankfully, there are upgrades and things that you can find throughout a run that will be modifiers. Things like you'll do more damage while in the dark, or you take less damage in the light. Regardless, there's other perks that you can use. They also have this curse system in this game, hence the name Curse of the Gods. The curse system adds negative mods to your character. It's on the meter on the bottom right hand. Once it gets full, it's not a good sight. When it gets full, the negative status effects that you have can really impact your run. So you need to be mindful of everything you do throughout your run and how it affects your curses. Because at the end of the day, when that meter gets full, the game gets even harder than it already is. Thankfully, on multi-tiered boss runs, you are able to remove these curses every time you kill a boss. On top of that, you can find items and perks that will help you fight off the curse itself by giving you less curse or just taking it away outright. Aside from all that, the game does feature many upgrades and weapons. Unfortunately, nothing stood out. There's none of these perks, nothing really stood out to me. On top of that, the combos that you perform while playing the game, they're good, but nothing special. The big issue with Curse of the Gods is not Curse of the Gods itself, but rather the fact that Hades exists. Personally, I've played Hades first. And because I've played Hades first, this game just doesn't measure up. If you haven't played Hades first, you could play this first, then go to Hades, and it would just be even a better experience. That doesn't mean Curse of the Gods is a bad game. It really isn't. It's just when you have that next level piece that's out there that you've experienced, it's hard to go back. It's just the way things are. I do recommend Curse of the Gods. I think Curse of the Gods is really, really good. I think there's a lot of good things it has to offer. Whether or not you're going to think of how good it actually is, it all depends on whether or not you've played Hades. At the end of the day, I recommend Curse of the Gods. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.